You know, she can't even concentrate because she knows in her bag there is something to eat. So she picks the food, puts in a pant. I'm sorry to say this, but this is a life story that was given by a teacher. She puts the cassava or whatever in her pant. Then she goes to ask the teacher, please teacher, may I go to the toilet? And when she goes to the toilet, she has to eat her food because she feels she has to eat. You know, what about the health of our children? Are we really realizing that we are killing our education ourselves? Much as I do appreciate the government has done tremendously a good job in as far as putting up UPE, but at the same time we are the ones who are going to kill it. Because let me tell you, a school management arranges a meeting. Parents come, they agree. Let each of us contribute 5,000 shillings at least for a cup of porridge for a child. But at the end of the day, those who may not afford to bring the 5,000 shillings, nothing is going to be done for them. But at the end of the day, these are the parents who are going to run to the RDC to go and report, and they even borrow 10,000 shillings to go to the RDC's office to report.
So the parents' attitude has to be addressed.
So one of the things that I would like to blame all of us, we politicians and the government, have we done enough to sensitize the parents in as far as their responsibility is concerned? Because we should not forget that the society in which we live is different from the European countries. We have to sensitize, thorough sensitization.
We'll be back after this break. Thank you.
Let's talk about the home of your dreams and how you plan to finance it. Let's discuss money, location, and time frames, and whether you plan to build it or purchase it or renovate it. Let's make it possible for you to get started now so that you get into your own home sooner rather than later. Let's enable you to borrow against your house so that you expand and meet all your financial needs. Let's offer you a Stanbic Bank home loan. To find out if you qualify for a home loan, ask at any Stanbic Bank branch today.
Stanbic Bank, moving forward. My friend Richard, he's a true man. He's ambitious, but understands that he has responsibilities to more than just himself, and he works hard to meet them. In the beginning, it was tough, but Richard never gave up. With time, his dream has grown into a radio station. He has given a voice to great ideas, reaching many of his listeners, helping them achieve their dreams. Today, Richard is doing well, thanks to his principles: hard work, trust, consistency, quality. But Richard never shouts about his success. He's just who he is, special. So he is to men like Richard, who make a difference, who enjoy Nile Special, the rich, satisfying taste from the source. Nile Special, you've earned it.
Not for sale to persons under 18.
So class, we learned today that there is Blue Band Original for spreading, cooking and baking, and new Blue Band spread for bread, which is specially formulated for breading. Good. Some people want a Blue Band Original for spreading, cooking and baking, while others want a new Blue Band spread for bread, specially formulated for breading. And that is even gooder. We now have Blue Band Original for spreading, cooking and baking, and a new Blue Band spread for bread for breading.
Blue Band now gives you a choice. Blue Band Original for spreading, cooking and baking, and new Blue Band spread for bread, which is specially formulated for spreading, making it more affordable.
Therefore, if you have the new Blue Band spread for bread and you spread it on the bread, that means you are doing what? Spreading.
Daily Blue Band, daily growth.
Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90 is brought to you by Stanbic Bank.
Welcome back. This is Spectrum on Radio 1 tonight. Key challenges that persist in the education sector. What are stakeholders proposing to address them? Our guests tonight, people who would know. Mr. Richard Sewakiryanga, Executive Director of the Uganda National NGO Forum. They just launched a report called Our Children Learning. He's been taking us through some of the details that they found. Astounding details. Some of them not very, very positive. Honorable Rosemary Seninde, Wakiso District Woman Mp, former chairperson of the Social Services Committee. You'll be able to call in later and contribute to this discussion. Honorable Seninde, the Education Act, how does it contribute to this? Does it take us forward, or does it keep us in the same place?
Well, first of all, I do appreciate the fact that in the last parliament, the 8th parliament, we came up with a law on the Education Act. I've not come along with it. I would have quoted the provision. But in this act, it clearly stipulates it provides for the roles of a parent. And of course we know the roles of a parent: taking care of the child is feeding, taking care of the child's other requirements at school like the uniform, the books and so on. Although it may not go into that detail. But of course, the reason why we are saying this law has a loophole is because it does not provide sanctions that if a parent fails to meet her roles, what happens to her or him. And because it is open like that, that is why we can't do, the government is failing to actually do anything to these parents who don't meet their roles. You see, at the end of the day, my dear, as we look at the factors that are affecting our education system, the parents are supposed to feed their children at school. The parents are not meeting that responsibility. And at the end of the day, we have now a vicious circle. And this circle is going to damage, is leading to poor quality of our children. Because if a child is hungry, you can't expect this child to sit in class. At the end of the day, this child will definitely drop out. Because persistent absenteeism will lead to poor performance. Yes. And once a child sees the performance is consistently bad, they will lose interest. They can't connect anymore, and they will lose out of school. That is why this morning I was at my district and I was looking at the statistics, which I'm even ready to express in Parliament. Yes. The UPE itself, we are putting up the structures, but if we don't look into the quality of education, we are going to end up with the structures without children. Because as I speak now, in the we have a drop out of 10,000 children in Wakiso District.
Wakiso District, 10,000 children.
10,000 children,
and that's
as
very
compared to last year.
That's very close
to last year. Yeah. And remember, this is Wakiso. But what about other districts, other areas? It could even be bigger than that. Where are we going? I think we need to look much more into the issues of education. I want to tell you, my dear listeners, that we are looking at education, and we should not only look at the issue of feeding, yes, but of course it's very, very passionate. But definitely we also need to look at the issues of motivation of staff. If the teachers are not motivated, where do you get the children? Who will teach the children? I have visited the schools, and you find the teachers sleeping at the desk because he's hungry or not motivated, and you know, at the end of the day, definitely the quality will go down. Then you look at the issues of late releases
of money.
Much as we are blaming the parent, we should also look at ourselves. I'm part of government. I'm part of government. True. I can't deny that. But then we also look at where are we failing as a government. We allocate funds as parliament, but at the end of the day, the funds are released so late. Released actually when the term is ending. One head teacher, I want to give an example. He told us that my marriage has broken. We asked, how does a marriage relate to education? He told us, I'm a headmaster, the DEO instructs and the IRDC want me to provide service at the school, but the government hasn't released the money, and I had to go to money lenders to run the school with the hope that when they release the money, I'll be able to pay back. But at the end of the day, it has to have interest, to accumulate interest. So now when he got his salary, he had to use it to pay the interest, because he wanted to maintain his job. And at the end of the day, the wife now was complaining. The other day you got salary, but now you're saying you don't have the money, and our child has been thrown out of school. So we must not forget that even these teachers have children at university like me, like anybody else. So we need to look into the motivation of staff. Human resource is very important. Now when I look at another, the education system itself, in the past for us, we used to be in school, they would even take us to gardens to dig, we would do the crafts. At the end of the day, you come out as an all-round person, because you can use a sewing machine and so on. But today, I want to tell you, and I think the listeners will believe me, that our education system has taken a trend that is not desirable. The children are simply drilled instead of being taught. Every school is working hard to make sure the child passes, because we must get many grades. The DEO says and the ministry says a teacher whose school will not get enough grades will be thrown out of the school. So we have to drill the children. A child of P1 cannot perform well because they only are pumped to pass. Now, another thing that I must remind the government and all of us, our policies are not properly implemented. We look at the issue of the science policy in schools, but as a government, have we provided enough science equipments in these schools? Do we have the teachers anyway? Then you look at the Swahili. I remember very vividly, it was one of the things that we had wanted to put in place as a government. But I wonder whether even schools teach Swahili. Because we don't have the teachers, we have not provided the books, we have not done enough as far as that is concerned. We have another policy, the thematic curriculum. This one would have done a good job, would have helped us probably. But we have not provided the books, we have not provided the teachers. We cannot forget that our societies now are not like in the past. We are living in mixed societies. You find here in Uganda where a child would be taught in Luganda. Is a school is full of all tribes. Now, which tribe are you going to teach? So these are the challenges. I'm not blaming the government as such that is probably not doing its job, but I believe even those who are listening to me will agree with me, and I'm always an objective person. If you don't talk about the challenges and you simply want to talk about only the good, then at the end of the day you will be sweeping the dirt under the bed, and at the end of the day the house will smell. So let us let us present the challenges so that we work together to ensure that we clean the house, the education system, because the education of our children is the future of this country.
Mr. Sewakiryanga, let's talk about UPE and USE. How do they come into the mix?
I think the thing is that, UPE is a very useful program. Useful in a sense that it was bringing a very important factor into play, which is access. But the thing is that access is the easy to reach target. That if you think about it, and actually here maybe in making a criticism of the MDG, I mean a Millennium Development Goal that talks about access, I think took like the low-hanging fruit. Indeed, what we must be thinking of always is the actual eventual outcome of education, which is learning. Now, from that angle, you see that UPE provided that opportunity for having many children in school. Of course, now you want to do some access also for secondary. But the thing is that for any of these UPE, USE to work, the factor of quality, which the Honorable has talked about, now needs to be interweaved in everything. And quality is not about, she has enumerated all these, it's to actually attack all these angles. Make sure that you deal with teacher motivation, make sure that you deal with the curriculum, make sure that you deal with the the parents, so it's about actually making sure that you connect the two, because USE will take, but if as they say, garbage in, garbage out. If we do not fix it on this side, then USE will also take something that is not prepared. So indeed, the issue of quality, and that's why I think, although the government is talking about it as a pronouncement, yes, we are going to work on quality, I think we need now to say we cannot allow these things to go on. We cannot keep saying, yes, we are going to work on quality, and when you test a child, you find that the child can't read. And that, I think, is something that we should say, no more of this. It means that there should be even remedial exercises, not just policy measures, but actually remedial exercises to say, can we ensure that for the children who are there now in UPE, whose quality hasn't improved, are there things that we can do to help them become better? And those are things that will continue. But as I said, UPEUS is a good connection. It's useful in terms of access. But what we are talking about now is quality. Access is important, and we should keep telling people to take their children to school. But we must ensure that when they get to school, they learn, because that is the ultimate reason why they get to school.
This is Spectrum. Listeners, you can call in now on numbers 0414-348-111, 0312-260-390, 0312-261-390. Spectrum, hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, your name?
Thank you for the guests. Good evening, Hon Rosemary Seninde.
Good evening, sir.
You are my woman MP in Wakiso. Now, I have something here to say. Number one, Mr. Sewakiryanga.
Your name, sir?
Hello?
Your name?
I'm Charles Kasuza. I'm calling from Nansana. The Honorable Seninde can identify me. Mr. Sewakiryanga, how can we get these reports? I remember even last year you issued a certain kind of report. Are they uploaded on the website? Can they be bought from elsewhere? Number two, after your report, what next? What do you expect this public to do?
All right. Spectrum, hello.
Good evening, Bwana Kristo.
Good evening, your name, sir?
I'm AM calling from Kingsford Plaza. I want to salute the Honorable MP and that gentleman. But what I want to disagree is the brother in the opposition. When they introduced the UPE, they went on the campaigning it. And another one, it was within the people within the teaching system, the staff in the teachers, the way they were treating UPE. I think they also brought some setback. But to me, as AM, it's a very good investment. And another thing, madam, what you have to notice, we need to change the system of education, because this system we are basing on is a colonial system. And today, in the job market, it works very little. Thank you.
Spectrum, hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Your name?
My name is Owere. First of all, I want to thank my MP, Honorable Seninde, and also the gentleman who did the survey. I liked his articulation. You know, there's some mistakes which government made by removing parents' association in the schools, in the pretext that they are demanding money and so on, not looking at the other good side of the parents' contribution they were giving. And that one actually retarded the USE and UPE, which is a very, very good program. And you know, a program without the enhancement by the local people and the stakeholders, it is a problem. I personally have a problem with the technocrats. Just imagine the money for UPE, the one for the last year term just came, I think, recently. Now, how do you expect people to now, when you go to human resource, whereby student and Minister of Education is supposed to play a very big role.
Yes.
The Minister of Education is not doing anything to improve the human resource.
Okay. Spectrum, hello.
Hello.
Your name, sir?
Yeah, I'm called Chombe. I'm called Chombe Samuel.
You're welcome, Samuel.
From Kisumu.
Yes, sir.
Okay, to me. Hello.
Yes, please, you're live on here. Please go on.
Also, what I'm saying, you know, the government, I don't know,
We've lost you, sadly, Mr. Chombe. Let's get back to the studio. Honorable Seninde, your reactions.
Yes, first of all, I would like to thank our listeners, and especially those who have asked questions. I would like to react to Mr. Fahad. He has, is he Fahad? Sorry, Mr. AM. Okay. Okay. He has complained. He has actually put it that probably this program was decampaigned by opposition. Of course, I do agree with him, but of course, I don't think that is the answer to the problem, because I think in all societies and in everything that probably are brought on board by the governments, not only in Uganda, oppositions definitely usually come up to oppose. They will criticize. But of course, then that is where we have to work harder. Because when they criticize, we look at the issues they are criticizing and we find solutions to those criticisms so that we can have the best out of it. So, in fact, to me, I'm even very happy. I'm a purely NRM supporter.
Right.
And that is why I objectively raise where I think things are good and where I think things need adjustment or need amendment or need, because I want my house to be the cleanest. And because I want the government to look at these issues. And I know they know them because we always address them in Parliament. And we have made so many reports. So when we talk about them, it's not because we think we should not talk about them, but I think because we want the best out of it. So I would like to tell you, I'm glad he has also agreed that our education system needs a change. We need to have an education system which makes a child an all-round. Mr. Were has actually said something very important. The parents' associations are no longer in schools, probably because there was an assumption that their presence probably squeezes money from parents. But yes, I also agree that everything good sometimes has a challenge. Now, this issue of the abolishing these PTAs has caused a problem in that in the past parents used to own the schools.
Yes.
They would feel the school is theirs.
Right.
They wouldn't want anything bad to go around the school. But
protection.
now they have actually left it to government.
Right.
They think it is the government.
Right.
Now, I think those were
Yeah, okay. Interesting. I mean, you made one interest. You said you're thoroughly NRM. In other words, there's not even a single drop of FDC inside of you.
Not a single, not even a
Not
dot.
NRM by the day and FDC by the
No.
Mr. Sewakiryanga.
Yes, thank you very much. I think for me, first of all, I want to tell Chigozi that the way we do this
Charles Kasozi?
Charles Kasozi, not Chigozi.
Yes.
Charles Kasozi, that the way we do these reports is that when we launch it, we upload it. So on www.wezo.net, this report is there in full.
Wezo.net.
Or wezo.net.
Right.
And the other thing is that the full data set is also available, which means that
They
for a
can do their
person
own
who
analysis.
is a statistician, a professor, a researcher, you just go to the website and download the full data set. And we do this because for us this is an open source, this is citizens' information, this is not only for us. So that is available. The point is, after this, what next? What I've said and what I said in the beginning, that this for us is the point that when we put the facts on the table, we, just like the Honorable MP has done, you move with the facts and start a dialogue, at least at her point, to say, can we influence policy to change the things that are not working? For you as a citizen, we expect you to also do something around your attitude. And then you say, can I really also become more involved in my child's education? So it's about everybody taking action. We do not want these projects where we come and then we give you a problem and then we provide a solution which is sometimes half-baked. We want everybody to know that in your household, you have a solution that you can start. Until we take back education to ourselves and remove it from the hands of government, we are not going to change our children. The people who actually make a difference in their children's learning, if you read those small captions in the newspapers when children get first grades, just follow them. You'll see the story.
Yes.
Oh, you know, I did this, this and that. My father encouraged my mother.
Yes.
So it's about parents and children interacting. Nobody in those things, a few thank the headmaster or the school,
Right.
but most of them, whom do they pose with? They pose with the parents. So indeed, it's logical. So the point is that for us, we need to return to that. And what this information we give out, it shows you that yes, some things are happening, but not as many. There is a statistic in here which needs to change.
Yes.
That only 3 out of 10 schools that we visited had a library.
Oh.
Yeah. Only 3 out of 10.
No libraries.
No libraries. I mean, no reading materials. So how do you teach literacy without books? You know, so that's something that the government now needs to expand. And here we're talking about looking at 2,400 schools. If that is true, then somebody has to do something about that. And that we cannot leave alone. But the other interesting bit which we should also actually bring out is that when you look at government-aided and private schools, actually we do not see a significant difference in the competences of children in the early years.
Yes.
That actually, as you actually know, in the later years, P7 and above.
Yes.
Which means that actually we could be having many private schools, but it doesn't mean they are significantly better than the government. Now, that's a good finding, because it says that government is doing some good things in their own schools. But that means that as we go along, we should ensure that there is a certain level of equity in the school system, so that it delivers both for those who are in government and also those who are in private. There are many of these kinds of things which I think, where we are, we can start doing something. And I think for us, what we are saying is education can't wait. It's just like many of these other crises that we have. Unless we take a position now, it haunts us later.
And what does tomorrow look like?
I think
from the way things are going.
From the way things are going, one thing for me is that we need, if we get this message out and we have as many supporters from everywhere doing something in their own locality, I think we can see significant change. The thing is that for children, if you actually start participating, 1 year, 6 months can make a huge difference. So indeed, the people who start today, they will see results very soon, by the year end, and that's something that I think we should keep promoting. I mean, I'm sure in her, and I'm also from Wakiso, and in her constituency, and these are things we should be promoting, telling people, you know, do something, go to school, provide for your child, the things that you can do as government does its bit.
Well, we have to end here. Interesting discussion. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Richard Sewakiryanga, Executive Director of the Uganda National NGO Forum. Thank you for coming to Spectrum, sir.
Thank you very much.
We also had Hon Rosemary Seninde, Wakiso District Woman Mp, former chairperson of the Social Services Committee. Thank you very much indeed for coming to Spectrum.
And thank you very much for hosting us. And I also like to thank our listeners, especially the people of Wakiso District.
The people of Wakiso, they brought you back. Last time I saw you, it was a different story. Your heart was pumping faster. Thank you for tuning in. I've been your host, Ed Montes. The Spectrum will be back tomorrow. Up next, though, is the news in English.
Okay. Let's talk about the home of your dreams and how you plan to finance it. Let's discuss money, location, and time frame.